This is why range is so important. From 12 all the way to like $5 a freaking share. Somebody lost their house and their wife and their kids and everything today on this thing. This thing was insane. Good morning and happy midweek Friday. The market's closed tomorrow, but today was a pretty dang good day. A little bit slow and choppy, so I want to talk through some stuff out there in the market about what to expect and how you could have traded the top stocks in the market today. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I know we've been doing these videos every single day. Like I promised, we are not going to miss a single day of this. If I am trading, we are going to have a recap video going over the trades from the day. Most obvious stock today in the market today was KWE, and had a pretty good trade on this today. Not too shabby. We had pretty good news out on this morning in pre-market. Now this thing came out pretty late in pre-market this morning. We had the news drop right at, what time was that this morning? Right before market opened, really, about 9 something. And news came out and said that KWE received an order for prototypes of its next-gen battlefield laser detection system. That headline is all we needed today. Right, so of course we typically don't trade based on news per se. If something has great news but a horrible chart, obviously I'm not going to play it. But on the inverse, if something has a great chart and no news, then we will likely play it. But this is a case here where the chart was great, and we had the news here that fit the current theme of the market. Of course, we have all the tension going on overall in the Middle East with Iran and everything, and we have that news drop today about a battlefield laser defense system. Oh my God, it fits the theme perfectly. So I was able to play this really well. One of my higher conviction trades. I thought it was the most obvious setup of the morning today, and it undoubtedly was. But it got a little bit choppy towards later part of the morning. We're going to walk through exactly what I mean by that. Overall, played it really, really well today, though. I want to start by talking about the daily time frame here on KWE. Overall, we understood, again, that we had range here to your 200-day moving average today. Which you can see right here. This thing gapped up this morning over the daily breakout, which this past daily high was sitting right back here at $7.70. So super clean. Of course, I'll show you how we played this. So first and foremost, we have to find that level that has to break to give us range. We knew here looking at the chart that 770 would have to break in order for us to have range. Next, where's our room to the upside? Well, we can see we had the 200-day moving average to the next high here at $15 a share. So I sort of knew today we had range from 7 to about 15. We had the 15 level there at the 200 moving average. So that is the overall look and feel of what we're looking at here today. Again, that 770 level was the key spot to break and get above to have the opportunity here. And you can see exactly how I actually played it today. Now, the first entry this morning here is actually way down here at $8.47. So I'll actually show you here. Let me get my pen up here. And we'll actually annotate the charts here for you. And we can see here, and honestly, I wanted this a little bit lower than I took it, but whenever I first saw this candle pull back, I was still prepping my watch list for the morning. And then I saw this thing start to curl. It got a lot of volume here going into the bell. And I pretty much said, look, screw it. The news is here. The chart is here. You took the entry risking the bottom of these candles here. So not a whole lot of risk per share. You figure entry here was about 847, risking about 8. We had about 50 cents a share of risk. And ultimately, we knew that we had ranged about $15 out of the bell. The news was there. I figured this would be caught on by a whole lot of people out of the open today, and that's exactly what happened here, and actually got a pretty nice halt. Now, this thing, of course, like I said, 847 entry, was able to get a good bit trimmed up into this previous high. Again, as we had sitting here overhead at $9.20, that previous pre-market high. Got some trimmed up there into the high there, and then the rest of market open didn't get sold up until the 1040s. Now, after that, we saw price continue to break higher, took a re-entry up into strength as Tate continued to show nice strength, and halted up at $11 a room, about $11.15. Strong resumption. What do we do out of the halt? Well, after something halts, I'm in full control of what I want to happen here out of the halt. Of course, we are not in full control of what does happen. We are in full control of what we want to happen. And so I knew that if the candle closed strong here off this high, 11.15, I want the thing to continue higher. If it breaks back down beneath this 11.15, I would have been out with my profit. I would have been out with my money here. But price, guess what? Held off the high perfectly at the halt price. Did not stop out and just continued higher. Played the pullbacks a little bit through here and eventually was out for profit up here towards the upper 14s. So was super happy with this. Played the momentum into the open there for the most profitable stock of the morning on KWE. That thing was gorgeous. And again, the news there is what gave me the conviction on the trade here. This thing was gorgeous. Now, the main issue with this, though, is after this trade, I could not do anything else through here. I had no conviction thereafter. Primary reason is that 15 level overhead. I knew we had range to 15. I didn't want to go chasing this. It was already trading a little bit choppily. And you can see here, makes move to 15, rejects bigly. Makes move again to 15, rejects bigly. I finally tried to take it here in the later part of the morning. You can see it here. I tried to take this, off the bottom of this wedge for that move back higher. But what happened here was I took the pullback entry, and we just really see price hesitate. We see the bid drop. Again, we're looking at the order book. We see the bid drop. There's nothing here holding up price, and I'm just really worried of a knife here. And unfortunately, that's what happened. But I ended up getting out of break even, as you can see on stream. But the big thing here is we had this decreasing volume all through this range. And the big thing that I love to see is decreasing volume in a sideways range after a monster move like this. Typically, if you get decreasing volume in a consolidation range after making a massive move, that next leg, when it happens, everything's ready to freaking go. Because sell side exhaustion has already occurred. We're already seeing that volume sell side, the buy side decrease. At that time, it's time to just look for direction. So this thing finally picked direction, and as you can see, it was not to the upside. So overall, really good stuff on this, but I actually was more happy with APVO today. This is why range is so important. This stock just knifed $7 off of its highs. This is why range is so important. From 12 all the way to like $5 a freaking share. Somebody lost their house and their wife and their kids and everything today on this thing. This thing was insane. This is why range is so important. Here's how you could have prevented this from happening. Again, these knives, yes, they are there, but you can prevent it from happening by just using common sense, observing your range, and just being aware of your surroundings. So here on APVO this morning had actually a lot of opportunities. This thing was really, really fun. But again, let's start by looking at the daily time frame. I'm going to remove my levels so we can go over it together. And let's start by going over the daily time frame. Now again, we want to use our daily time frame to gauge past price action to identify where future price might go. And so we can look back here at the daily, and I know this chart's kind of because it's so beat down, but if you look back here, let me try to fix the chart so you can see a bit better. There you go. If you look back here on APVO, we have double top off the high formed off this 1450 back in the past. And so we know, okay, we have ranged about 1450 here today. 1450 right there overhead. We have the 200 moving average right here at 920. Okay, so we have the 200 sitting here at 920. Okay, so levels are marked up. We know the break of 5, we have the break of the daily high. We have the 200 moving average sitting right here at 920, and then the daily high sitting off at 1450. Cool. All right, so we have the levels marked up. From there, it's just a matter of playing it in its range. And so this thing today was really opportune, and I don't say that lightly. This thing was very, very fun today. Now, first and foremost, we knew that we had that 920 level there off of its 200 moving average, which was right here. We knew the 920 level was key here. All right, we knew that. All right, we can clearly see that based on the price action which we saw on the daily time frame and the 200 moving average. So what we have identified here is that area of resistance overhead where we found that past daily high. Now, I first tried to take this earlier this morning on the breakout, which you can see back here. Price pulls back, little 1 minute candle to pull back here, took the pullback, and per my system, this candle broke to a new high and tried to go higher, but then instantly fell back and rejected beneath. That's an instant exit every single time. I don't care what happens, how it looks, instant exit every single time according to the system. All right, so that was not it, but came back later and broke over that high of day over $7.90. Now, what do we have formed here is an area of supply, right? So we have consolidation followed by an impulsive move to the downside. This is a lot of kids are calling an order block or liquidity. That's where liquidity sits in the market, right? It's an order block. So again, we can drag our area of consolidation over here. And we have this area of supply formed. Let me clear off the chart so you can actually see that a bit better. We have this area of supply formed here because again, price consolidates and then legs down. This is an area of liquidity. And so we know that if price does confirm above, breaks above, this area of supply now becomes an area of demand. So what do? We can use that for entry opportunities, and actually was able to do that 3 times for profit just on this range this morning for some beautiful entries. First one here was on the break of the high of day. Price breaks over the high of day, candle pulls back, confirms off this high of day. So what do? I just take it risking the bottom of this candle. Easy enough. Freaking amazing trade. So again, candle breaks to a new high, and we want to see that retest come down to confirm that level. It broke, closed above the breakout level, and then guess what? Next candle starts and finds strength off that level. So we know exactly what the risk here. So entry here was at 812, risking about 785, 790, so not a whole lot of risk there at all. And we knew we had range to where? The daily 200 moving average at $9.20. And so you can see where I'm going with this here, how we're using these levels to find these ranges. And so again, trims up into the high of day, and then we get to break higher, take a full profit underneath 920 because we knew that was our range here. Don't get greedy and hold up into your range. You have to pay yourself, fill your pockets. Had this broke through that 920 level, we could have always added back or played it again for that move higher. But don't try and anticipate that move higher. Wait for it to actually happen. Price pulls back again within this area of demand, which had formed back here. Again, took the pullback entry, scalped up into the highs again. Again, pulls back again, take a pullback entry, scalp up into the highs again. Just keep on rinse and repeat here within this little tight range. Same story here going forward. Tried to look for that break of the high here. A little bit anticipatory, but the tape was strong. And so I'm starting to take pullbacks. Look here. Off the bottom of its range, really nice entries. You can see here. Took it off the bottom of its range and just sold up into the top of its wedge. And I was looking for that break higher here, which we finally eventually got for another small win, which we're still going to talk about. These are fairly anticipatory, but with the volume there, bottom of range, had profit cushion from back here to play with and risk. I didn't mind taking that. Now we look forward here as well. Took the 1 minute pullback on the breakout here, and this wasn't a bad trade, a little bit overextended in my opinion, but I would have liked to have seen this confirm a bit better off this previous high. But nonetheless, a nice little trade. Took it from 1040 to about 1070s, so not too bad, little small base hit. Now, what we identified earlier was that $15 level or 1450 level of resistance overhead, right? We have that 1450 level overhead, which we identified on the daily time frame. And so we zoom out here, and I will show you exactly what we're talking about. Now, so we zoom out here. Price was breaking up to the highs here. Again, we identified this level of resistance here off 1450. What was price nearing here? Was there any incentive up here into the highs? Again, price was here at the high of day. Was there any incentive here? Heck no. Nobody is going to come look at this thing up here at 14 bucks a share or upper 13s and say, yes, we have range here, when clearly we have a massive top off the high here on 1450. So anybody that chased this thing today clearly was just chasing with zero plan, because there is zero reason to go chasing this thing. I've been to its highs. Now I traded this thing perfectly today. As you can see, I played it super well. I'm super happy with the trades on it today. But again, we identified that level of resistance overhead. There is no incentive here to take these pullbacks. Zero. Absolutely none. Absolutely none. Because we have no range. And if you have no range, you have no trade. The market is an auction house. And if you have no range, there's no incentive for buyers to come buying it up at these higher prices. You're not going to find any buyers. You're not going to get that follow through. So again, no incentive here with the lack of range overhead. So this caught a lot of people today, I'm sure. Did not catch me, but it caught a lot of people today that weren't paying attention to range. This was nasty. I'm talking from 12 to like in a matter of a couple minutes. This is like fuel. This is crazy stuff, right? Crazy stuff. Now, that was the two main trades today. The rest of them are fairly small. Like TPET today had a really small win back here, looking for this break back higher. Nothing to really go over here. As you can see, just looking for a curl off of trend and did not get that. HUBC also played today for really choppy action. Took it on the breakout, took it on the pullback. Overall, pretty much break even. Nothing really to do there. Again, similar setup to TPET, just no follow through. And so all in all, you don't know. MRIN, HUBC, APVO, that's pretty much how the day went. So yeah, hopefully you learned something from this though. Kind of a short and choppy day today, but nonetheless, a really, really good day of staying picky. We only had two obvious stocks today on APVO and KWE. And that was really all there was to it. A lot of craziness going on in the market. The market is actually closed tomorrow for Juneteenth, so that might have also added to the choppiness of action today, the slowness of action. You just have to stay picky. The last 3-4 weeks have been massive for us. So having some slow days like this is just part of the game, part of the process, and just a cycle that repeat itself over time. And we just have to know how to execute and sort of wiggle our way through this crazy action, just manage risk and stick to our rules every single day, and just continue to do that over the long term and get those averages play out in your favor. So that being said, very happy with it. Hopefully I see you guys over in that 7-day free trial where you can actually watch me trade every day, get alerts, education, watch list, chat room access, and so much more. Let me know what you guys traded today as well, and I'll see you over in that 7-day free trial for an awesome rest of the trading week.